1960 Packard Bell combo unit, AM FM phonograph, black and white TV street find. This is part 2. I might release these part 2 first and then part 1. In part 1 we fixed the AM FM radio and got the turntable going. In this video I'm going to try and get the black and white television going. This beauty with the graffiti. This came from Hollywood area. We did a live stream when we picked this up over a year ago, and it's just been sitting around here. So let's dig into the TV and see if we can resurrect that. I'm not going to spoil what it took to get the AM FM radio and turntable to go. I'll probably release that video at a later time depending on how this part plays out. I'm gonna just leave that there just for the sheer chic design, just so the TV gets to stick with its roots and remember where it came from. Packard Bell, made right here in Los Angeles, like 1960 model year. The yoke is kind of beat up. This is how we found it, so the deflection will probably never be right. The geometry is going to be all twacked out because that's bent. I just hope none of those coils are open. Need to check the CRT. I'm going to bet it's weak. The way this thing is built is we have our deflection board or chassis here with the power supply. So we got our power transformer choke. The vertical output tube is missing. I actually ordered one. I have it inside. I got it from ESRC, which, what a sad situation that is. In Florida, before Stan went bye-bye on us. So we got our rectifier tube, horizontal output tube, damper tube, and then, like I said, the vertical output's missing. So that's one chassis. Oh, and this thing is loaded with paper capacitors, which is unfortunate because I think shortly after this Packard Bell went to red drops or orange drops. This is our television IF sync audio output, which is working. We got that all, made sure that's all working in part 1. Then we got our tuner here. And up here is the AM FM radio. So let's see, we'll start by checking the CRT, then we'll go after high voltage, and we'll just kind of work our way from there. Okay, let's see what we get here. The CRT is bad, then we just walk away. This thing is pretty much going to end up in the trash anyway when I'm done. I'm going to just pull some parts and pull some tubes and break it up and throw it away because it's definitely not a nice specimen. Well, that's pretty lackluster, isn't it? It's coming up. I'm going to give it a few minutes here and we'll see what happens. I don't know if this cleaning lamp is any good, but let's try this. I don't have any more of these lamps. Yeah, I guess the bulb is no good. Crap, I need some GE49s. Actually, I just measured that bulb. It measures good, so maybe the CRT is just too dead. Yeah, I run the risk of, oh, there it comes, but yeah, it came up, but there's no flashing, so I guess there's no dirt in it. I mean, it seems like it came up. But yeah, it's CRT is bad. Okay, the CRT is very bad. But hopefully we can get a picture on it. We just want to resurrect it. So this here is going to be an issue. I believe that the inside, is the inside horizontal? No, I think the inside is horizontal. This thing was dropped on its back, so everything on the back is broken. This is the horizontal hold, and I gotta try and straighten this out. Oh, yeah, don't break it. That might work. Now, I don't know what was here, probably vertical hold, and that's gone, so crap. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to see if we could get high voltage. If these are the horizontal coils, this could be a problem. These things could start arcing. So I'm really riding the short bus on this right now. I also noticed that the damper is not getting hot, and I don't know what that's about. In fact, none of these are getting hot. Ooh. That didn't sound good, did it? This might be a tough resurrection. This thing's gangstified. We got our milliamp meter here connected to the plate, and I have a cathode current tester. I just don't know where it is. This is something you want to be very careful with, kids. The voltage there, the pulses can really burn the living hell out of your hands if you touch it. So let's go to TV. And it doesn't make sense to me why the horizontal output tube would be illuminated, but none of these other ones would, and that be switched. I mean, if on radio mode, if you were going to keep this one hot, why wouldn't you keep those hot? So, yeah, I think we have an issue here with filament. Let's plug this in and see if the picture bulb gets hot. And yes, it is getting hot. So what's up with this? Why are we not... We're not getting anything. Yeah, just totally dead. Well, the damper is not open. It's measuring about, I don't know, half an ohm. On a lot of these, they run the filament on the damper on a separate winding, and they float it at a higher potential voltage. They float the filament up to like B+, that way you have less of a chance of flashover, but it doesn't look like that's the case with this. It looks like all these are just parallel. There's only one. See, they're all connected to Z. That's not the way it is on a lot of sets. So we really only have one filament winding on this transformer besides the low voltage rectifier, which is Z. So what's going on? Why are these 3 tubes dark here? We got a burnt wire underneath here or something? I really like the serviceability of this thing, and it's a good thing because it absolutely just kills your back to lean over it for hours at a time, as I found out yesterday in part 1. So let me see if I can find where our filament voltage is not getting from one tube to another. See, here's the damper is right here. Here. So I've been following this with a magnifying glass and a flashlight, and it looks like all the tubes that are cool, the filaments are tied together, and they're tied to the socket that goes up to the power switches. So what's going on here? What am I missing? It's like maybe the voltage to these tube filaments is switched. Yes, those tube filaments are switched in the tuner. And as we saw in video 1, which you will see, the switch in the tuner is damaged. It's been worked on. So this makes sense now. So that right there is the switch. I know this is blurry, but it connects to 3 and 4, which if you follow that out, bridges those tube filaments to the Z feed off of the transformer. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that the switch in the tuner is bad, and I'm going to just bridge it underneath here. So here's my bridge wire going from this is the power, the filament from the transformer. That's where it goes up into the other chassis, and this is where it should return and go back. That doesn't make any sense to me why they keep the horizontal output tube lit up but not the rest of the tubes. I don't quite get that. Alright, let's see what happens. I'm using a 200 watt light bulb here as isolation or current limiting. Yeah, let's see what happens. Yep, damper's getting hot now. Creeping up. And when I say creeping, I mean creeping. We really don't want to exceed about 100 milliamps on this. I'm gonna, just for the hell of it, let me see, which one's it? I'm gonna try yanking this one out. And that's what we should see. If we kill the oscillator, that's good. That means the oscillator's running. And our light bulb's brighter, so I'm going to try turning this a little bit. Oh, that was interesting. Let me get a high voltage gauge. Absolutely nothing. And I don't hear any squealing or anything with this, which is kind of weird. I would figure maybe I do hear it. We ain't got nothing there. Huh. But it looks like the oscillator is running, because if I kill the oscillator, I think... Which one is the oscillator? This one? No, that's the double diode. When I did that, it's a phase detector. Okay, I'm going to do this one. This is the oscillator right here. See, when I kill that, the cathode or plate current spikes, which kind of tells me the oscillator is running. Now, what would keep this from developing high voltage with the oscillator running would be the yoke or the flyback or a bad capacitor, but that yoke is very suspect. If that yoke has an open winding, the circuit will not be tuned and it will not produce hardly any high voltage. So I took our light bulb out of circuit. Ooh! I pulled those wires that were arcing on the yoke apart. We'll see what happens here. I don't have very high hopes for this. I mean, now the cathode current is way too damn high. Yeah, still nothing. The yoke is a problem. Yeah. Yep, the yoke is a problem. Well, hell, if it wasn't a problem, it sure is now. Alright, so, yeah, the yoke is a problem. Was it, now that begs the question, was it pulled off the set by some copper scrapper, or was it known to be a problem? That's why the TV was retired, put outside. The technician took it off, set it aside like you see it now, and that the TV was set outside like that, and eventually put out on the street. The flyback has lost some wax. You can see the whole, well, you can see that. In fact, the flyback looks like it's lost a lot of wax, to the point where the tube is caked with wax. Now that I look a little closer at this, the core is cracked. If you want to call that a core, I don't. Yeah, it's in pretty bad shape. Okay, I label all wires to yoke with masking tape like moron and take yoke out. Take yoke to copper cycle rescrapper recycler for money for crack bong. Need to feed addiction, crack bong. Meth vape. What do you call that? Hookah crack hookah. Meth hookah. Okay, yeah, you got to keep all those out of the way because they will cause a fire or arc or something. So I want to see, usually when the yoke is out of the circuit, we get low plate current, low cathode current, the same thing, and low high voltage. So remember, the vertical's not even hooked up. We're just dealing with horizontal oscillator damper and horizontal output. but we should see some high voltage. Interesting. We are at a lot lower cathode current now, or plate current. So it looks like we are at about 1 kilovolt there. That's, I guess the wax is just insulating this down here. Okay, so we should have 15 kilovolts here. And 4, 5, and 6 connect directly up to the yoke. And boy, this is a pretty elaborate, confusing yoke setup. Look at all those capacitors and center tapped coils in this yoke. I wonder if I got another yoke, you know, if we could try and use it to tune this circuit up a little bit and make sure we're getting high voltage from the flyback. Okay, this is a Y88 Thordarson, and I got it hooked up the same, rolling out on the dangerous tip here. So here we go. Power has been applied. It's like all these wires with, you know, over 5,000 volt pulses just hanging out in midair. Very comforting. So that definitely drove our plate current up. And still about the same. Wow, the plate current's way high. It's weird, I hear it creeps up, then I hear something like arc out and it pegs. Almost sounds like the CRT arcs internally. Or maybe the high voltage rectifier is arcing. Now that it's developing high voltage because the yoke is in place, let's see what happens here. I'll try some here. Jesus. See that? Why is that acting like that? With only... Is that pure AC on there? Is the high voltage rectifier shorted, or is the CRT gassy? Melt the wax. Well, what a toilet burger this is. 1B3, I guarantee that's gassy, filled with air. Okay, we're looking for 145 milliamps on the cathode, which is, or plate. Same thing, I keep saying that over and over, which is about what we got there. Let's see what happens now. Don't try this at home, kids. That looks nice. I found another 1B3, and look at this one. See it glowing inside? See that? You can almost see the arcing there through the gas or air. Okay, you know what? We had this, we used this or tried this in a CTC 16 I resurrected, and it would overheat after a few minutes and quit working. And this says it does a 1B3, and I gotta say 1B3 is the most common failed tube I think I've seen in a TV. They're just always bad in these sets that are subjected to water or moisture or whatever. So this is the one that was freaking out, but since this is not a high current color set, or you know, this is a little weak black and white, maybe this will work in here. Okay, let's see. I bet with that thing in there we get insane high voltage. And since there's no filament, it's just gonna come right up. Remember, we're looking for that's weird. It came up to, it looks like about 8 and then it stopped. Let me connect it to the CRT so we have the filter in place, because the CRT is a filter capacitor. Well, doing the kind of the same thing. Let me try and find a good 1B3. Yeah, this yoke is still not the right tuning for this circuit. This is not the right yoke. This is just something I found and connected. It's for an RCA set. Alright, here's a new old stock 1B3, which doesn't mean it's good, but we are definitely, I think, getting a little bit higher voltage with this. I'm gonna give it a minute. Yeah, so okay, this, what a waste of time. Sorry, this is damaged, obviously, because I'm getting 16 kilovolts now. So I'm getting closer here. Getting closer, even with the yoke that's out of tune, you know. I might slap that yoke on there and see if we could get a raster. I got the CRT hooked up. So with this, we should just get a vertical line on the tube. Well, I got something screwed up there. We got a horizontal line. Let's see if brightness works. Yeah. Interesting. What do I have screwed up here? Okay, I rotated the yoke. This yoke does not fit on this CRT. There we go. Nice. 6ME8. 6ME8 is that missing tube right there. The vertical output it was missing when I pick the TV up. Let's plug that in and hook up the vertical part of the yoke. No vertical deflection, and this tube 6ME8 is not even getting hot like there's plate voltage. So I discovered on another TV, or I decided to do this, you just hook a speaker to the vertical and listen to it. And you should hear the 30 hertz or whatever pulses through the speaker if the vertical's working. So that's what I've done. I just hooked the speaker up to the vertical part of the yoke. Okay, so no vertical deflection starts a whole nother chapter of common problems with old TVs. We're using our spacer there, and I'm going to check these voltages. And this line here that says do not measure, pin number 9, we want to check that. We're going to use this old school sacrificial meter from the 1940s. So let's just start by checking that first. Let's see, pin number 9. And we have 300 volts there, that's good. Let's see, we want, this thing is kind of hard to read. On 3 and 6 we want -20, that would indicate the oscillator's running. In the 6B and 8, I wonder if that's a problem. I think that is also the 6B and 8 is also the phase detector diodes. It is. So this is a 6B and 8. And I have the speaker hooked up. It just sure doesn't seem like that tube is getting hot. The tube just seems cold. Let me measure the filament voltage. We got 6 VAC there. So let me try and check that screen where it says 250. I can't read the pin. Is that pin 1? So when I touch the plate with the meter, I do get a little static from the speaker. Remember, the speaker's hooked up to the vertical output. Why is this tube not getting hot? Do I have a bad tube here? Brand new. That doesn't mean anything. Sounds like the tuner's working in this thing. Yeah, I would say that the front end is working. We just need to get some deflection here. So we have about -1 volt on the grid. I'm going to yank the oscillator out. We'll see what that does. Goes to -3 volts. Just kind of interesting. Still nothing out of the speaker. Yeah, it's just weird that it's just not even getting hot. I mean, it's just barely warm. I wonder if I ordered 2 of these. I usually order 2 of things. Well, I think I discovered the problem here. This set takes a 6EM5, and I have here a 6ME8. Now, I ordered these tubes for this thing back from ESRC in Florida before the owner passed away at the beginning of 2020. And I looked back through, and since it was all done through PayPal, it doesn't save it. But I cannot believe that I would have mistakenly ordered something, a 6ME8 for a 6EM5. Totally different tube. This leaves a lot of questions. I'm trying to find the original invoice, the paper copy, and yeah, what the hell? Well, I don't know what happened there. This is my mistake. When those tubes came in, when that order of tubes came in, I pulled that tube aside and put it with the set because it was the only 9-pin tube that I ordered, but I found a 6EM5 here, so I do make mistakes, and everybody makes mistakes, and I'm not afraid to say I make mistakes. It's just, you know, can we correct the mistake or identify the problem without re-engineering the set? Yeah, this is a big power tube, like a 6BQ5. In fact, I bet a 6BQ5 would work in this spot. So here we go. Let's see if we get any anything different from the speaker with the right tube in the set. Would be nice if it just came up and worked. And then vertical hold should adjust that. Which it does a little. Okay, we should have a raster now. And it does have a full raster. Since you can't see it because we're in the sun. Wow. Is that all it took to resurrect this? Was a yoke and getting the right tubes in it? I thought it might be fun to ring this yoke. So between pins 2 and 11, we have 0 rings. Between pins 1 and 11, we have 9 rings. Between pins 1 and 2, it's across that coil, we have 0 rings. That would almost indicate one section of that coil is open. Between pins 3 and 7, we have 3 rings. That's across the bottom coil. Between pins 10 and 7, we have 8 rings. Between 3 and 10, we have 11 rings. So it looks like the coil between 2 and 11 is open. Yeah, between 2 and 11, I get 0 rings. Oh, well, no. Between 2 and 11 I get 0 rings, and between 1 and 2 I get 0 rings. This is one vertical winding, this is the other. You really can't ring those without getting those resistors. They just measure 0 rings. You know, unless that capacitor is shorted right there. Guess it's possible, but no, you'd still get rings between 1 and 2. So if we drive this, between 2 and 11 we get nothing. 2 and 11 is the one that didn't ring. If I go 1 to 11, we get 28 milliamps. Now let's try this one. $52 milliamps there. 33 milliamps there. So yeah, we got an open section here. That's why this thing was so jacked up. And yeah, here's the open section right here. I soldered this, I fixed that, if you'd want to call it fixing that, and our load test looks good. I'll ring it, but it's good. It checks good now. I don't know if it would work, but it checks good. Let's see what happens here. It seems to like it, I think. Let me hook up the center tap. Weird, I power it down and power it back up and it's crapped out. So in the short time that ran, on the second try, this lower coil got warm. So there are shorted turns in there that arc when the potential's high. You just cannot deny that this yoke seems to work better. I mean, we got about 150 milliamps and we got 15 kilovolts. So I'm kind of waiting for it to get a little bit darker out here so that the camera will dial in on this thing. And want to show everybody the mess that's in the back here. It's pretty comical. Of course, that doesn't really fit, but if I don't move it, it'll just sit there, hopefully. So I got the rabbit ears connected to the tuner there, to those nice long leads, and this is a sloppy mess. I'm surprised this might even think of working, but inevitably I'll get somebody who will say, this TV is fake. You fake this because there's no analog on the air anymore. Well, there is. In the United States, there's a couple low power. For 99% of my viewers, they know this. There's in a few cities, there's still a few low power channel 6 stations that cross onto the FM band. They're called Franken FMs because you can listen to them either on the radio or on the TV, and I'll try and demonstrate that maybe. And I have a converter box here, which I will hook to an antenna on the roof. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll try for channel 6 first, and we'll go from there and see what happens. I found a knob for this. Actually, this is a knob off of like a CTC 35 color set, and this thing is so brittle it's just breaking as I turn it. I hope the fine tuning works. So we'll see. It's powering up. Let's see if it's dark enough out here for the camera to sync to it. Okay, so there's what it looks like. That's pretty amazing. And the channel display.
14, en donde se está buscando nuevamente mi oficio. A ver, pero ¿qué pasó un poco antes? En el año de 1735
wow,
aparece una de las pestes más importantes, más desastrosas en México, que es la peste del Matlazáhuatl. Esa peste fue tan devastadora, era altamente contagiosa y letal. Por eso dice el arzobispo en turno que caían como moscas, como si los estuvieran desconectando. De modo que en el año de 1737 se firma el patronazgo de la Santísima Virgen María de Guadalupe para México. Ya después se va extendiendo a toda misa y oficio de Santa María de Guadalupe. Otra vez hay que demostrar la existencia de San Juan Diego y la veracidad de las apariciones de Santa María de Guadalupe en el año de 1531. Cosa que sucede.
Okay, I'm going to turn the, try and get this centered out. I'm going to turn the horizontal hold.
La tilma, más bien no la tilma, sino la pintura de Miguel Cabrera, cuando extiende la pintura de Miguel Cabrera como lo hiciera Juan Diego con la tilma, el Papa llorando dice, es así de hermosa, dice, no, es más hermosa la que está allá en México, esa solamente es una pintura, es una copia. Y ahí la frase, non fecit taliter omni nazioni, no ha hecho con otra nación cosa igual. De modo que el Papa lo dice esto en 1754 y no vuelve a mencionar esta frase para ninguna otra advocación mariana, ni tampoco para algún otro acontecimiento en el mundo, un acontecimiento sobrenatural, ni tampoco ni Benedicto XIV, ni tampoco ningún papa.
Remember, I've done no setup on this.
Desde 1758, que muere Benedicto XIV, hasta la fecha, ningún papa se ha referido a una advocación mariana con esta expresión de la Sagrada Escritura del Salmo 147.
So the shading, the top half being darker than the bottom half is the camera. It's still kind of bright out here.
pero en México hizo algo que no ha hecho con otra nación.
There you go.
Solamente, fíjense, el evento
Channel
que supera
6.
al acontecimiento, solamente ese acontecimiento
I'm going to hook up
las apariciones
the converter
de Santa María
box.
de Guadalupe en el ser permanente de Santa María de Guadalupe. Y la
On the 2021 Billboard Music Awards.
Oh, crap. There's not a whole lot of contrast, and I need to adjust the vertical a little bit.
With Canva. Oh. Someone needs lessons.
Right now, drive home a sleek new
Now we
Camry
can watch
with a
commercials
low
in
$249
style.
lease. Or you can save big with $12.50.
Wow,
free
I can't
cashback.
believe
Get
the,
your Toyota today.
the geometry.
Toyota, let's go places.
The geometry is actually pretty damn good for that crappy for having the wrong yoke.
From 4 to 9 p.m., energy becomes less clean and more expensive. Use less energy during peak hours for a cleaner California.
Attention, California. New federal funding of $3 billion is available to help more people pay for
Wow.
health insurance, no matter what your income. How much is yours? Julie and Bob are paying $700 less every month. Dee got comprehensive coverage for only $1 a month. And the Nevadas are paying less than $100 a month. Check CoveredCA.com to see your new lower price. The sooner you sign up, the more you save. Only at Cover California. This way to health insurance.
A lot of people think that being a race car driver is fast and chaotic. It's really not. It's a borderline meditative state. It sounds unbelievable. As a race car driver, that's how you're deciphering everything that the car is doing. We've got a 575 horsepower V8, an open track. Let's take the Jag.
For great offers, visit your Jaguar retailer.
Jaguar. Visit your Jaguar.
Craving something wild,
I'm an animal.
hot and hand-breaded, a sweet maple glaze.
Waffles.
The new hand-breaded chicken and waffle sandwich from Carl's Jr. Available all day.
Feed your happy.
Robin, Bedlin, Danielle, and Adrian, you are #festival.
Virtual brew day.
With today in LA.
What was your favorite item?
I like the hand sanitizer.
You guys are my
I'll wait until it gets a little darker.
With the lows or highs. Vraylar effectively treats depression, acute manic, and mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults. Full spectrum relief for all bipolar 1 symptoms with just one pill once a day. Elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts.
I love these
Antidepressants
commercials.
can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. High cholesterol and weight gain, high blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, may occur. Movement dysfunction, sleepiness, and stomach issues are common side effects. When bipolar 1 overwhelms, Vraylar helps smooth the ups and downs.
This thing actually has a really good picture. And I know the OCD crowd is OCDing over the graffiti, but
Saturdays happen. Pain.
more medication.
Aleve it. Aleve is proven stronger and longer on pain than Tylenol. When pain happens, Aleve it. All day strong. Should I be afraid?
No.
I've got secrets I can't tell.
No one messes with my family.
The season finale of The Equalizer.
It's got a really good picture.
Time on CBS.
60 Minutes Plus, streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus.
I might have the I'm gonna sit out here and watch The Simpsons.
That's how you do hands.
Pick your prize!
It's Spectrum Mobile.
All right, let's do the money shot. Let's wrap this up.
Hold the presses, roll a second, keep the game close to my heart, my precious. Overtime, tend to get overzealous with the moment's mine. I'm gonna oversell it.
You've got enough to think about maintaining. Good thing the 2021 Volkswagen Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport have a lower cost of maintenance than Toyota Highlander. Come into your Volkswagen dealer today and lease the stylish and versatile 2021 Atlas Cross Sport S for just $279 a month.
We will be a beacon of hope for you as we move forward. I'm an eternal optimist. I always believe that we can do better, are better, and that we will get through things. So come to us when you need that. When you need that light, when you need that beacon of hope, we'll be there for you.
The final three sing it out for masked glory, and all are unmasked. The winner is the Masked Singer season finale, Wednesday on Fox.
Download the free-to-play Fox Super 6 app for a chance to win real money.
We'll release the radio video next week. It's my plan.